Hey, what's up? We are on. Okay. So we're going to continue on with a little bit of the Wes Huff interview. And we're also, I don't know why the camera's off like that. And we're also going to do just a little bit from Basecamp. And there might be one other thing we're going to touch on today. But first thing I want to do is address some comments that were in my chat. So give me 1 second to pull those up, and we'll get into that right now. Because we got some haters going on right now. Not that I mind haters; they're fine. I don't really care. But what they're bringing up though is relevant to what we do here. So I kind of want to talk about that just briefly. So here we go. Okay. So here we go. Let's do this here. Share screen. Okay, so we have people who are very upset at me for correcting Wes Huff, the great God King, the leader of the new apologetics that is defeating atheism and making secular scholars look like fools, which will be followed up by the great Ignatius Study Bible, which will show that inerrancy and literalism is true in Catholicism, not just in uh, Protestantism. So I have a response to that, and it's not a bunch of expletives, even though I'm pretty sure that'd be more entertaining. So I'll read what I. Hey, Lisa, what are you doing here? I love that you're here, and the room's open, by the way, if you want to hop in. I'll put the link right now. But just to let you know, Gur and BS are talking to each other live on BS's channel. If you want to say hi to Gar, I know you might not have seen him in a while, but I'll put an invite here if you want. There we go. So I have people questioning my credentials because I dared to correct Wes Huff. I've corrected everyone. I've corrected everyone from Bart Ehrman to Trent Horn. You think I care about pissing off Wes Huff? But okay. So here's my response to this, and then I'll explain this a little bit deeper. I put I'm a trained philosopher and researcher, which I was actually going to bring my degree. I forgot to bring it. I got distracted with BS and Gar. Hold on, let me add Lisa in. Hey, Lisa, let me go over my comment first. But how you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Let me just do this comment first, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I said I'm a trained philosopher and researcher. I've read every major religious book at least twice through each, and that is very, very true. And I mean all of them. Everything from the Atharhasis to the Bhagavad Gita. I've read them all. I really like this stuff. It isn't just a hobby for me; it's part of my personality. Um, I've studied all the ecumenical councils, which is true, but I haven't studied all of them equally, just to be very fair on that. I've been reading through the church fathers for the last 7 years. There are more church father readings than I thought there were going to be, and I'm nowhere near done. I've studied Trent, Vatican I, Vatican II, which is all on this channel if you ever want to watch it. I've read through all the major confessions and creeds from all the major denominations, and I've spent some extra time studying Lutheranism because it's very interesting, and a little bit of Anglicanism. Let's see. I've been auditing all the best biblical, ancient history, and classical history and theology courses for the last 20 years, and this is true. Everything from Rice to uh, New to New Mexico University. I have been doing their courses online. I tried twice to do the thing where you do the test, but I could never do it. But I would just audit these classes. Auditing means you're not actually taking any of the tests; you're just listening to them. I've been doing this since 2005, and I've done it all the way until this year. I've uh, Whenever these colleges offer free courses of their top courses of their best classes, I usually listen to them. I listen to them during my workouts, during my running, during my hiking. So all my information is actually pretty up to date. Let's see. Um, I've read 7 different translations from front to back, the Dewey Reams, KJV, NKJV, NABRE, the CTS NCB, which is really just the New Jerusalem Bible, the NRSV, the CSB, and I've skimmed through a bunch of other Bibles and read portions of other Bibles as well, and I own more than that. I just want to be clear, I didn't read all of them straight through. Some of them I did piecemeal. Some of them I did while reading another Bible, reading it next to next to compare. But that's what I've done. I've read through the Bible completely 7 times, if you don't include the Missal and the Liturgy of the Hours, which then means I've read it even more times when I've done the daily readings and weekly readings and all of that stuff. Let's see. I've read through multiple uh, I have read through multiple, at least 20 study Bibles from all the major publishers. I only mention a few here: the Crossway, the ESV, the Ignatius, the Word on Fire, which is my current favorite, the IVP, which is a lot of material, the Art Scroll, which is a ton of material, the Oxford NRSV. I have a ton of study Bibles. I usually read the study Bible material very quickly because I already kind of know what it's saying, so it's easy to get through it. Reading the Bible actually takes time. Reading the study material in most Bibles, even thick study material, you can usually get through in about a month and a half. So it's really good. And if you're just going to power through it, you can probably do it over a weekend. Let's see. And then also put down that I've been watching apologetics here on YouTube for over 15 years. While I may have only been doing this for 7 years, and I may have only been on YouTube for 11 years, since I've been on YouTube, since apologetics started on YouTube, I've been doing Catholic Answers. I've been doing the other apologists that have disappeared and are no longer on the internet. I was watching with them, I was debating with them, and I was doing well arguing against them and with them. I've been around for a very long time. So for those who are questioning my credentials, I've been on YouTube a lot longer than you've been a viewer of mine. All right, that's it for that. Lisa for Truth, come on in.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. We're going to be watching some Wes Huff today. What do you think about Wes? He's kind of the internet sensation of the moment.
I have no idea who he is. Do you know
He's a
anything about
very.
Dyer?
Say that again. I didn't hear you.
Do you know anything about Jay Dyer?
I know a ton about Jay Dyer. I'm not an expert on him. Why?
Is he,
What?
is he a Catholic apologist?
Oh, absolutely not. He hates Catholics. He hates Catholics with a passion. Um, so he used to be a mainstream apologist when he first came on.
Mm-hmm.
He was actually um, he was kind of competing with Catholic Answers and a few other people for credibility. He then had a scandal, and instead of disappearing from the internet, he just started cussing and cursing in his streams, and he brought in a very different audience. He ended up being friends with Sham Shamoon and all those kind of guys, the guys that we don't like here on this channel or on any of our concurrent channels. Um, anyway, he's a Greek Orthodox apologist, but he's not
Oh,
in good standing. He's not in good standing with the Orthodox faith. They have a
hmm,
problem with him, but he still defends it. Give me 1 second. I'm going to get my phone so I can turn on the AC. I'll be right back.
here.
And I'm back.
I was just wondering because I did a reply to him about he had a thing on why I'm not an atheist,
Hmm.
and I did a reply to him on that, like in
How
a
did it
live.
go?
I didn't. A lot of people are watching it, so that's good. But
You want to watch it on here? I'm okay with cross promotion. You want to watch yours? I can react to it, respond to it.
sure.
Okay. Let me find your channel.
Well, you probably don't want to do all of it because it's like 2 hours, but
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
I'm not gonna do 2 hours of that. We're gonna go a little bit of yours, then we'll go into the Wes Huff stuff. Then from
yeah,
Wes Huff, we're gonna go to two other videos that I have planned, and then we're gonna end on Basecamp. For my regular audience who's wondering why aren't we doing anti-apologetics today, this is not my normal stream. This is my super secret stream. It means we do hot topics, we do news, and usually I'm gonna try to do it on this on StreamYard so I can do it as an open room. So I'll be doing Streamlab Monday through Thursday, and then on Saturdays I'm gonna be doing it on um StreamYard. I'm not gonna be advertising it as an open room because whenever I put open room, my views go down. So I'm just gonna have it be an open room, and whoever happens to show up, I'm gonna invite in. Okay, Lisa for truth. But by the way, right now you're missing Gar and BS doing their thing.
yeah. You said that. I might pop in later if
Well,
they
we
if
might
they're
we might
later.
stream snipe them in a few minutes. I just can't do it in the first 5 minutes because then YouTube would kill my stream. But
Cool. Alrighty.
in a little bit, we might do that just to piss them off. Why is your channel? Why is your channel not popping up?
Huh.
Let's see. Shorts. Let me try it as one word. Let me try it as one word. How's everything going? How's your health? How you been since your surgery? Things going better?
Yeah. Um. I had an anxiety attack that sent me to the ER, but other than that, I'm
I'm
fine.
so sorry.
Yeah. Well, I just my
What's the
anxiety.
name of the video?
Huh?
What's the name of the video? Because it's not coming up with your channel name.
Okay. Hang on. Let me. I think it's Hang on. I don't
Mhm.
even know. Do, 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 do. Give me a sec.
So for those watching, just to let you know, on the West Huff stuff, I am correcting him because he's saying a lot of stuff that's not only anti-Catholic but it's anti-historical. There are other channels like Myth Vision and
Jay
What Your
Dyer
Pastor
gives
Won't
his
Tell You, and someone else. Oh, go ahead.
Jay
Lisa, go
Dyer
ahead.
gives his reasons he's not atheist.
Mhm. But is that the name of your video?
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Found it. In 5 minute segments. Oh,
Okay.
Premiere. I like it. Start it off.
About the Bible God, I will say I am a Gnostic atheist on the Bible God. There is no fucking way the Bible God can exist. As for the other gods, I don't know. And like I said, I don't really care. Move.
So, what's your reasoning for why the God of the Bible can't exist? What's your elevator pitch? What's your argument?
Well, if you're talking about the all omnis, the omniscient, the omnipotent, the omnibenevolent,
Hmm.
and what was the other one?
Omnipresent.
Omnipresent. Yeah. Um, yeah, those cannot coexist. Like
Why?
if you said he's not, because there's suffering in the world, and if he was
Why
all
would
love,
s- why
if
would
he was,
suffering though? Go ahead.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Lisa. Continue. I was gonna say, why would suffering disprove an all-loving God?
Because if he wanted to, he could make it all go away, you know, and that's where the omnipotence comes in. You know, he can do whatever he wants, right?
Hmm.
So if he's all loving, wouldn't he want to get rid of suffering?
So my argument would be that he doesn't want to get rid of suffering, and that therefore suffering isn't evil. That would be from a Christian perspective, from a very specific Catholic perspective, I should say.
Okay, explain it a little more.
Okay, I'm not going to try to go too in depth because I want people who are watching my channel to go look at your channel, but
Okay.
I'll give short responses. Okay.
Hmm.
So basically, in a nutshell, people shouldn't confuse suffering with evil. Those are two different things. People shouldn't confuse illness with evil. Evil's an action, while suffering is something that is more passive. It's like it just comes to you. There's nothing really you can do about it. But suffering has its uses. So, for instance, and I'm not talking about God bringing good out of suffering. That's a completely different argument. What I'm saying is that pain prevents you from burning or hurting yourself. Consequences, negative consequences, teach people that certain actions are bad, and those actions have negative consequences that can hurt many, many people. So,
I
to
understand
keep things
that.
moving,
Sorry, I understand that acute pain. Um,
pain has its uses. To put it
yeah,
another way.
but chronic pain doesn't. There's no use for chronic pain.
Well, I mean, let's say that you're someone who doesn't understand the necessity of life, and you have a family member who endures chronic pain, and then one day you don't. This is going to sound really bombastic, but stop. Really bombastic, but let's say you don't want to do your homework because it annoys you. It's a minor inconvenience, but your uncle or aunt who's suffering from chronic pain is like, every day I come up these stairs and I bring you a glass of milk and some cookies, right? And they're like, yeah, every time you come, you do that. Okay. So here's the deal. I got pain in my knee from, I don't know, let's say football. I'm always in pain, always, every day in pain. And yet, because I love you so much, whenever I come here, I always make sure to bring you some cookies and some milk. And because I think that my love for you is greater than my pain that I'm suffering. So maybe this little pain that you're enduring isn't as great as the pain that I'm enduring. And maybe because you love yourself like I love you, maybe you can endure this little pain so that way later on you can have a greater good. Uh, I'm just giving an example. I'm not going to go too deep into my counter argument to your point, but that's just something that I would present. You can,
Okay.
please respond to that before we move on to the next. We're going to do your video in segments.
Yeah, I have sciatica. There's no reason for my sciatica. None.
Mhm. So I have diabetes. I have
Hmm.
dyslexia. I have a bad knee. I have a shoulder that's at less than 70% operability because of the tendons torn.
Hmm.
And that's torn because I got a vaccine uh, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and I went to China. And the vaccine was cultivated with egg, and I'm allergic to egg and yeast. So it made my entire shoulder flare up, and I'm now stuck with pain all the time.
You see, that's what I'm talking about. There's no reason for chronic pain. Acute pain, yes. Chronic pain, no.
But I would say that there could be reasons why you or I say why I have chronic pain because it can help other people who have suffering as well. So my suffering can be used to help other people who are suffering. I can endure so I can help them learn how to endure their pain. There can be a domino effect of good deeds that can come out of the suffering.
But if God was omnibenevolent, there would be no chronic pain at all.
So
You get
I I get what you're saying, but I disagree. I think God can bring good
and
out of
that's
anything,
fine.
and
That's fine.
but I don't think. Let me put it this way: I don't think God's punishing me by having my mother die when I was um, 6 from diabetes. I don't think that's a punishment toward me because my mother had consequences. I don't think it's a punishment toward me because I'm dyslexic and I see things backwards every once in a while, or that I'm born with this kind of stuff. Or I don't think God's punishing me because right now I only have 4 viewers instead of 1,000 viewers. Um, I just don't view life in that way, and I don't think that proves or disproves God because life is set up with certain rules or standards that we live by. Because even if God doesn't exist, we still have chronic pain.
Exactly. Whether he does or does not exist. Now I can tell you I have no problem. If you take away the omnibenevolence, there's no problem.
Well, for me, I mean, I don't know about the omnibenevolence. I don't know where you're getting that from, but I do know that all good. I'm assuming you're meaning all good is the omnibenevolence.
Yeah, close enough.
Okay, so good doesn't mean kind, and good also doesn't mean you get what you want. So I I've never viewed good in that way, and there are greater goods, and the lesser goods kind of don't always matter because the lesser goods could be minor evils if you let them play out long enough. And that doesn't come from religion, by the way. That comes from philosophy and utilitarianism.
Okay.
Right. We're going to go ahead and we're going to see your next point.
Just gonna do. Um, no. Those things take reality and time, space, and matter, which is part of reality, but doesn't take God.
So, what are you talking about there, Lisa? Just to give the audience a bit of flavor.
I think he was talking about um God creating the universe.
Hmm.
I can't really remember. Um, and well, first of all, we don't know whether the universe was created. You know,
Hmm.
this particular um universe had a beginning, but we don't know whether the like we don't know whether the singularity had a beginning, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, to be
Maybe
fair, the
maybe
cur- if I can interrupt for a second. To be fair, current science is now saying that we might not have had a beginning. So the pendulum's swinging the other way anyway.
right. But what I'm saying is time space time, there may not be a beginning to space time. So if there's no beginning to space time, then there's no need for a God.
Well, I disagree with that on multiple levels, but on a shorter level, I don't think science is the right tool to try to understand something that is uh, incorporeal. So I just don't think those are the right tools. Like trying to dissect the soul with surgical tools just seems like a uh, an act of futility and madness. That's just my opinion.
Right, and that's why I say I think, because science can only take us back to the Planck time,
Hmm.
you know,
All right, I'm gonna play a little bit more of your video.
mhm, that math encompasses, yeah, that's discovered. I I don't know what else you could mean.
So what are you responding to there?
I have no idea. There's a lot of things I don't understand in this. There's a lot of things he could explain better.
Well, let's go back to what I just skipped past, and let's see if we can hear what he's saying, and then we're gonna go move on to the West video. Okay. Let's
Sure,
see. Is he talking here?
that math encompasses. Go back some more like that.
I'm just trying to get to him talking.
Yeah.
It shows that these are not products of our mind, but they exist in some kind of realm beyond our minds. Ultimately, that's the mind of God. And I have an essay where I argue about this kind of stuff.
So, talking about ultimate reality, this is what he's talking about, and how I would call them abstracts, but let's call them the cosmic forces of the universe. Um, these kind of laws that exist only in abstract, that there's no actual tangible way to quantify them. They exist in the mind of God, and by God simply saying something is true, it automatically becomes true. That's kind of Jay Dyer's argument here. So the laws that we discover through science and through nature, those laws are reflections of God's reality. That doesn't mean that can ever get you to God. That means that the basic structure of the universe, whether it's atoms, whether it's gravity, whether it's energy wells, all of this stuff, this pre-cosmological, primeval matter, energy, all of that exists because of God. That's the argument that he's making. This is not a scientific argument. It's saying that science, our math, reflects the reality that Jesus created or that God created, depending on how you want to word it. That's his argument that he's making there.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so now we're going to move on to Wes Huff. Let's get to the main meal of this video. And feel free to defend Wes or to argue against him as the video is going. Okay, Lisa?
If you're upper class and you commit a crime against another upper class person, there's a different level of penalty than if you're upper class and you commit a crime against a slave.
Its own type of caste system, if you will.
Yeah. So coming back to this.
So I don't agree with Wes's analysis of ancient Roman culture. I lived in ancient Roman texts for well over 11 years. I am not an expert in ancient Roman culture. If I was Metatron and I could have done it for a living, I would have gladly have done so, but I didn't. So my YouTube channel, I didn't make enough money for me to just keep doing ancient history. But from reading a lot of ancient history and from actively writing and living in that world for as long as possible, not just in entertainment, not just in movies, not just in my imagination, but doing research and studying stuff on ancient Rome, I feel like Wes has a prejudice against ancient Roman culture and ancient Hellenistic culture. And he has a bias toward a Christian understanding that can overshadow or cloud the actual history of real Rome, of real Judea, of real historical Greece, and Mesopotamia, and Macedonia, and everything else, because he's lumping it all into this one big giant world called pagan. And that's not how they saw each other. They didn't see each other as the same, and they had very big differences within their culture. And
That is very
Romans,
simplistic to lump them all in as pagan. They were very different.
yes. So anyway, we're gonna go on.
Because
To
that
what
was a
we
bit
got
of an
on the screen
aside.
here,
So
yeah.
this is what largely, if you had a copy of the Gospel of John, it would look like this. This is a codex. Another interesting thing about Christianity is that Christians didn't invent the book, what we would call the Codex, but they were the ones who pioneered.
No, I think that's a very good correction, because Jordan Peterson will a lot of times give credit to Christians for inventing books and literature. It's important to note that we exploited it, and we exploited it better than probably any other culture, but we didn't invent it. And the same stuff is happening in Arabia, same stuff's happening in China. So just because, yeah, these major cultures are the ones who exploited these things, it doesn't mean that we invented these things. Lisa, do you have an opinion there?
Nope.
Pioneered it as a writing format. Because
Right. They perfected it, if you will.
Well, the ancient world preferred scrolls. So Christians almost unanimously use codices. And we're not sure why.
Can you explain to people the codicy aspect there?
So a codice is just a book. Like you would take, instead of taking a long line of papyrus and writing on it and then rolling it up,
So it
you
looks like
would-
this instead.
yeah, you would bind it on one side and you would write on both sides.
So what's interesting about that is that the Romans also had like these wax tablets that could be kind of pressed together into a book, and you could write notes on it, and you could erase, and you could do corrections. Obviously, because they're wax, they didn't survive. But that is very interesting that the codexes of the Christians are some of the best surviving stuff out there.
Sides of the papyrus.
And this is long before the printing press and everything. So this is
Yeah, all of this is handwritten, all of this is handmade.
physical writing.
Yeah. And so this is much more analogous of what people would be considering when they were thinking of scripture. When they were thinking of the Bible.
I don't like that analysis, because before that you would have these little clay bowls and you would have different scrolls in them, and that would be your collection, would be these scrolls in this collection. And a lot of times you would have these libraries or temples that would hold the sacred scrolls, and the job of the people in the temple was preserving these scrolls and preserving these histories, so that way people could go and learn about this stuff. So the status of a priest or a prophet in the ancient world was more than just a religious figure. They're the keepers of history. They're the keepers of truth. They're the keepers of the way. And I don't just mean for Christians. I mean for all cultures. There's a great, in both Livy and in Herodotus, but more so in Herodotus, there's this great image that Herodotus paints of himself as traveling the dangerous seas to get, or who knows, but traveling the seas to get to the ancient temples to find out the secret histories of these different cultures and to report the real stories of these wars that we all hear about and talk about. And so that's what Herodotus is doing in the histories. It's multiple histories. That's why multiple gospels makes perfect sense in its contents. It's multiple histories that are being preserved in one book. And so he's telling both sides, or all four sides, or all five sides sometimes, of the same story. And then it's up to you, the reader, to decide. So when we read Livy or reread Herodotus today, it's more like reading a newspaper, because you're getting opinions. You're not just getting facts. So it's not a history book like we understand history. So it is okay to call the Gospels and the Bible a history. We might subdivide it now into lives or biographies or letters, but this kind of oral tradition was important to be preserved, because otherwise you didn't know the history. So even if it's counterfactual now and it doesn't match up to the history as we know it, all of these ancient cultures have the same problem. What's unique about Christianity is the Protestant claim that this is absolutely true, that this is inerrant in every way, not just inerrant in a spiritual, theological, religious way, but inerrant in a historical, mathematical, scientific value way. That is the problem with the Protestant argument. Lisa, do you have anything you'd like to add?
That's an interesting point you have, because a lot of Protestants, in fact, I don't know of any Protestants. Well, the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Mormons, those are the only Protestants I know of who are old earth creationists. You know, as far as I know, all the Protestants are young Earth creationists, and that's curious because the Bible never says how old the Earth is.
So there's math that's done, I think, by monks. I'm not sure. There's like 2 or 3 different important historical monks that do the
Yeah,
math.
Bishop
And
Hester. That
yeah.
yeah.
So, but that isn't real math, and that's just based on implication. It's unfortunate that Protestants lined up to that. I do want to add one little correction, even though right now the audience is small, just in case people do come in. I understand that Protestants do not consider Mormons and Jehovah Witnesses Christians. So I know that Lisa made that claim, and she's right to make that claim. But for the Protestants who are watching, I do understand that you all don't consider them your brothers or your kin in faith. Anyway, continue on, Lisa.
But they're saying on the one hand they say they're biblical literalists, but on the other hand they're saying something that is not in the Bible. And if you look at the Bible specifically says the earth is of old.
Where? That's an interesting claim. Where does the Bible say that the earth is old or older than? I haven't heard that claim.
I think it's in First Peter.
Okay.
I haven't.
The days you're saying, like the Ancient of Days.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, go on.
The word biblos is simply the Greek word for books. So it's plural. And then eventually it was the book, right? Because for a period of time in the Middle Ages, the only book you might ever had seen in your life was the Bible. But
I don't like that argument.
When they refer to the scriptures, they're not thinking of a single bound volume like we would today. We just sort of we revert to that because that's.
So one of the problems with Protestantism is that it's very stuck in the modern mindset. So Protestants think that they've never had the Apocrypha as part of their Bible. It used to be part of, up until the 1990s, it was part of their Bible. But Protestants who were born after the 1990s never had it as part of their Bible. I'm not talking about the 1500s. I'm saying up to the 1990s, the Apocrypha was part of a Protestant Bible. Before the 1500s, the Deuterocanon, which is what the Protestants call the Apocrypha, is what Protestants call the Deuterocanon is what Catholics call the Apocrypha. Sorry, that was part of the Bible. It's just part of the structure. And then if you go further back, when the Bible wasn't all one book, it was whatever collection of books happened to be in the church or monastery that you were going to. So when you only have bits and pieces of the Bible, like Augustine only had, I think, one gospel or two gospels, you don't have the entire Bible. You only have one thing, and maybe you might have like a roughly complete Torah or a mostly complete Torah. So the way that Protestants understand how the Bible was read before the printing press is a complete misunderstanding of history. Lisa, go ahead.
Yeah, I find it curious that Protestants don't seem to understand that the Bible did not exist as it does today throughout all of Christian history. Going back to the Council of Trent when they finally got the Bible together, and then of course what you're saying, they didn't have all of the Bible all around Europe, so there were things they didn't know, and also I find it a bit odd that when they did put the Bible together in the Council of Trent, that they included letters, which are just they're not um they're not really theology as such. And I find that strange.
Lisa, real quick, while we are going to go jump into B.S. Lewis's room, okay?
Sure.
Well, if they're still going. Okay, hold on. So we are currently on 2 streams at the same time. Hey, so I got some news for you. Wow. So I gotta let you know, me and Lisa, Lisa from Truth, we just did this exact same video, and we did it better than you. We just did the Jay Dyer video. Uh-huh. Oh shit. So we're stream sniping the stream sniping. Oh my gosh. It's whatever that movie is called, stream sniping. Inception. There you go. Lisa, do you want to say hi? You haven't talked to Gar in a long time. You have to unmute you. You have to unmute
Sure.
your mic. Okay. No, hold on. Yeah, Lisa's here. Lisa, say hi.
Hi, girl. You coming back?
You'll never know. No, we're. We're streaming. I'm doing a stream and she hopped in. Yeah. So anyway, I might come over to your show, I guess maybe in a little bit if you're still on in a few minutes. Right now, I'm gonna do the Jay Dyer thing and then Basecamp, and then I'll come on by if you're still on. Mm-hmm. Okay, sounds good. All right, I might stop. I might come by in a little bit, in maybe 10 minutes. All right, bye. All right, later. How was that, Lisa?
Good. Your cat's very talkative.
Yes, she is. She's too talkative, in my opinion. Hey, Thomas, how you doing, my friend? All right. Okay. We're gonna do. I think we're good there on the Wes Huff stuff. Let's go to Basecamp. Have you watched any of Basecamp?
No.
Okay, I think you're gonna like them. They're fun. And for those watching, we're probably only going to do an hour because my audience is pretty split between multiple streams. So I'm not getting the usual audience I normally get. So yeah, so let's we might have to split things up a little bit, but that's okay. Okay. So this is Basecamp, Lisa. I really like their stuff. I think they're really fun. Let's do a little bit of which one do I want to do? Let's do a little bit of one video and then we'll hop over to Do you want to come with me when I go to Gar Streams? You want to meet me over there when we get done here?
He's on Gerst Streams or BS Lewis?
No, he's on BS. He's on BS Lewis's channel.
Actually, no. I think I'm gonna go back.
Okay. All right. Well, let's watch just a little bit of this one. I like this one. Can you dissect the soul? This is what we were going to do today. Today was just going to be all these videos, but we might do this again later tonight. So anyone watching my stream right now, after the Gar and BS stream ends, I'm going to work out, and then an hour later, I'll come back, and we're going to power through maybe 2 or 3 of the Basecamp videos. All right. All right. Let's do just a little bit of the Christmas one.
Everyone in the Roman kingdom to go back to their ancestral homes.
Would you like to know more?
Hello, Simone. I'm excited to be here with you today. Today, we are going to.
Okay. Do you think they're brother and sister, or do you think they're androids? What do you think, Lisa?
Well, I think they're humans, but
Think they're humans?
I mean, robots can be pretty human-like now.
That
So
is true.
who knows?
Be discussing the pernicious myth that many Christian celebrations around Christmas came or are descended from pagan celebrations. What?
That's
Oh, you
true.
didn't know?
That
I thought
is
they all.
very-
Yeah, you must have heard.
What do you think?
That is true.
Well, they're going to debunk it. They're going to say that they have definitive proof that it is not. Oh, Thomas, I think they are sibling androids. I think you're correct.
Look at
And
look at the girl. Like,
It's the same face.
can her eyes get any wider? I mean,
This growing
I'm
up. where
not
people-
trying to make fun of her, but
Mhm.
it's like her eyes are so wide. Like she got caught in the headlights or something.
Okay, so at 50, in about 2 minutes, we're going to go ahead and close the stream out, and we're going to go head over to BS Lewis stream. If anyone's watching this right now, or anyone's watching this 10 minutes from now after I've already closed out the stream, we're over on BS Lewis's stream. We're having fun. We're going to be watching Jay Dyer and some other stuff. Lisa's going to check out. She's not going to come over to that stream, but she's more than welcome to. I'm inviting for BS's channel as if I actually own that channel, which I don't, but I will. Let's continue.
They're like, oh, this came from a pagan celebration. This came from a pagan celebration. And in almost every case, there not only is literally zero strong evidence that they are, there is very strong evidence they did not. And there is actually also evidence in a number of cases that some celebrations that they're like, yeah, but pagans did practice this. And you're like, yeah, and they started about 200 years after Christians did.
Are
They
you
brought
kidding
it
me?
from Christians, not the other way around. What? This
So, for Lisa, if you don't know the LARP that's going on here, these are both atheists. They're not religious people at all, and they started their own religion to train AI. So their religion is the only purpose of their religion is to train AI to have morals for the future, and they're part of a large collective thing that's going on. They're actually very famous. They do stuff with the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times. And their goal is to train morals into future AI programs.
Okay.
What do you think about that? Do you think AI poses a big danger, or do you think, like a lot of physicists, that AI is just bullshit and it's just a gimmick?
I don't know enough about AI to make an educated conclusion on that.
All right.
Isn't it crazy? Every year I get in the
I don't know
Christmas
either.
spirit and I watch a ton of videos on the history of Christmas and the pagan origins of Christmas. And you're subverting that all right now?
Yeah, hold on. I'm going to subvert this on so many levels. So the specific ones that we're going to be addressing are: is Christmas copied from Sol Invictus celebration, or did it get its date from a Sol Invictus celebration?
Or Saturnalia.
Or Saturnalia. We're also going to be discussing Saturnalia separately.
Okay.
And is the Christmas tree pagan? Specifically, we'll be arguing in the case of Christmas tree, that the tradition of the Christmas tree is not ancient, it's not derived from Saturnalia, Yule, or Norse mythology. And then finally, we will touch briefly on Santa Claus being Christian.
All right, Lisa, we're about to check out. Any last words or anything you'd like to say to my audience or anything you'd like to promote for your channel?
Well, come on over to my channel. I do a bunch of stuff on religion. I haven't been doing much lately, but I plan on jumping back in. I just needed a break.
All right, so I am so sorry for my audience. I know I don't start getting viewers till hour number 2, and I'm jumping out before hour 2 comes. We will be back later tonight. We will be having fun. This is not a serious night. This is not an anti-apologetics. We're going to be tackling deep religious issues tonight. It's going to be a fun night. We're going to go over to BS Lewis' channel. If he stops streaming, we'll come back over here, and we are going to be doing Basecamp. This is going to be Basecamp, and a little bit of Wes Huff. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. I love you all. Thank you, Thomas, for coming by. Thank you, BS Lewis and Gar Mania, for watching my show. I know this show is much more interesting than your stream, and to prove that, I'm going to hop over to your channel. Later.
All right. Bye, guys.